I guess there's a stallion somewhere on the property, and she's decided that she wants to meet him. So she's in her house. That was fun. Normally she just comes along quietly. I had a frickin' rodeo. She wanted to rear, she wanted to buck, she wanted to kick me. Horses. Anyway, let me get this out so people know I'm live. Okay. Gotta go to Facebook and do it too because I got friends there. And okay, so I want to talk about the last 3 episodes of Andor. Um, you guys know I hated it. I thought it was stupid. Um, I thought it was too slow, way too woke. The lesbians were more than anybody needed to see in a Star Wars show. I know Tony Gilroy thinks that that's like an adult theme, and it's like, no, it's a filthy theme. It's filthy. Okay, fucking filthy. Anyway, and disturbing and disordered and everything, but it's Hollywood, and he looks like he's filthy, disturbed, and disordered, so whatever. But the last 3 were actually pretty good. I was extremely kind of saddened the way Luthen went. This is a spoiler thread, so if you don't know what happened, I'm going to tell you. It was very hard to watch. And because the character is the best character they came up with for this thing that no one wanted, and really, as many people who think that Andor deserved a show of his own, I have to admit, I don't think he did. There was nothing. No one. Look, if you like the character, fine, but Rogue One, who cares? All right, it's almost like Gilroy wanted to take Han Solo and turn him into a 5-foot Mexican dude. It's like, no, you know. Um, so what happens is Luthen's assistant, what's her name? Clea has to go and get to him because he tried to kill himself with an ancient dagger. And he had just found out about the Death Star from, remember the skinny red-haired guy with the big nose? He worked for the ISB. He is the one that told Luthen, and Luthen killed him, right? Because what people like Luthen do is they tie up loose ends so they don't get caught. How do you tie up loose end? By killing your informants. That's what he did. And the ISB already had their eyes on Luthen, so there you go. And watching it happen, I mean, Luthen's confronted by Dedra, who, by the way, gets herself arrested for being incompetent, and he goes with them, or he tries to kill himself with a dagger, and he's pretty much dead anyway. But then Clea shows up, dresses up like a nurse, goes in and takes him off of life support and kills him. Which was, you understand that Clea was rescued by him. By the way, Clea is Andor's sister. All right, that's, it's like they don't come out and say it, but she is. Okay, and so there's that. So she knows she has to go to Yavin 4, and she don't want to. And before she took off, before Luthen killed himself, he basically told her, we're going to Yavin. It's the only safe place. It's the safest we're going to be. So she is waiting in the safe house on Coruscant for someone to get her. And she puts it out there that from Luthen that they need help, right? So Andor basically tells General Draven to go fuck himself, and he and one of his guys, and K2SO, which was one of the bright spots in this, shows up. They take off in the ship, and they go and get her, and a bunch of shit goes down. K2SO has to basically save everybody, and he's throwing ISB agents and wannabe stormtroopers around like freaking King Kong with a bunch of jackrabbits. They're flying everywhere. They go back to Yavin 4. Clea is wounded, and that's it. Dedra is stuck in prison. She's probably going to be executed. But what's interesting is because the ISB fucked up and she got away. Clea got away, right? Guess who pulls out a DL-44? Big boom boom. But Dedra's boss, Partagas, and he's left in a room by himself because they're waiting to talk to him. They meaning probably, I don't know, Krennic, Tarkin, other Moffs, maybe the Emperor, maybe Vader. Wouldn't doubt it. And Vader would have just crushed his windpipe. I mean, but you get the idea, you get the feeling from Rogue One that Vader was on the outside of this because I don't think he really approved of the Death Star. There's something about it that made him not want it. Anyway, so you've got this, that, and the other thing going on. And Partagas is left in the meeting room of the ISB and pulls out a blaster, and there are two stormtroopers standing there, and I think his second in command, the guy, swear to God, the guy was in Star Wars: A New Hope, and he's just standing there, and Partagas, Partagas kills himself. So at the end, it's very talky. K2SO and Andor go to meet one of the guys at the rings of Kefrine, and they're getting messages from the Hufflepuff Saw Gerrera, who snorts gas, I guess, which is, and it was just very, that part was back to being, let's how bored can we get everybody? Okay, that was boring. But the show was worth it. Do I like Benjamin Bratt as Bail Organa? He does admit to fucking up getting Mon Mothma out of Coruscant. That Luthen had to do it. He also doesn't really give Luthen, and the other people, you've got that big Arab, and you got that black woman, and they're, they're playing the people who are jackasses. All right, you always, look, in a parliamentary system like that, people like that are going to have way too big of mouths. All right, parliamentary systems, in my opinion, don't work. But that's what they have, and all they do is complain, and they have too much power, and they're always wrong. I mean, these two, the black woman and the big Arab dude, are way too powerful for their status. They're really the only two people who really, in my opinion, have any say is Mon Mothma and Bail Organa. And Bail Organa is being a jerk. He knows perfectly well what they owe Luthen. Luthen was an asshole. But in order to keep the rebellion safe, he had to be an asshole. And that's what you do, okay? And so I didn't like that. And a lot of people, like Benjamin Bratt. And I thought, he was fine. All right, he was fine, but I miss Jimmy Smits because I don't, Jimmy Smits, if you go to Kenobi and he's talking about, he's really into the character. All right. He's Leia's dad. Okay. You get where she got her virtues from. And they're as much from him and Breha as they are from Padme and Anakin. Okay. He fostered and parented and dadded along Leia's, what was going on with her. Okay. And it was really, I mean, when you think about it, it was really kind of uh different. Okay, it was different. It was not what you would expect. I wanted him to go, when he looked at Mon, when Andor said, yeah, well, I had to go back to Coruscant to rescue Mon. And Organa is like, oh yeah, I forgot. Touche, my bad. He understood he made a mistake. But it went right back to not listening. I mean, Luthen's wrong. Luthen's a head case. Luthen does this. Luthen does that. And I didn't like that. I don't think after everything they'd been through that they would feel that way. I could see the two other people that didn't really have anything to do with Luthen feeling that way because they would be coming at it from the way outside. Really, if you want, Luthen was very compartmentalized. And when you're running kind of an intelligence gathering operation, which is what he was doing, you have to be compartmentalized. All right, the right hand can't know what the left hand is doing. And I think a lot of people in this situation that they're in that scene where they're all meeting, and Cassian's basically reading everybody the riot act, that I think that they were compartmentalized, so they were intentionally kept out. Mon knew exactly what was going on because she was in the middle of it. Oh yeah, I mean, dollar store Kyle Katarn. Cross is right. And Bale should know better. All right. Again, my problem is when I watched these, and this is my complaint, and if you liked him the way Jimmy Smits played him, fine. I'm not mad at you. I just think they dumbed him down. And I don't see this version of Bail Organa being Leia's father. Because when you look at a guy like that, he has to keep the pretense that we're a peaceful planet, peaceful system, we have no weapons, we just want to get along and all the rest of that stuff. He has to keep that pretense up, but there has to be an underlying reality there. And when you see the difference between him talking to Kenobi about saving Leia or talking to Leia, and this version, I don't see the connection. Because, look, he's in the middle of it. He has to A, protect his system, but B, he's also one of the centers of gravity. And that's a big deal in this stuff. Mon Mothma and him. Mon publicly, him privately. All right. But he knows that Luthen was right. That's a BFD. All right. That's a BFD. And so I'm like going, well, he's fine. He's taking the hard-ass role. He's at least being open-minded, but still, there's something lacking that he had in Rogue One. He goes from being this very cynical guy, which he is in this, still not learning that, Luthen keeps these guys alive because he keeps everybody compartmentalized. He went after Cassian to begin with because Cassian is good at what he does, I guess. And Han Solo was unavailable. And, and Han wouldn't do it anyway because he'd be like, what the fuck do I want to be part of your rebellion? And then he met Leia and goes, oh, now I know why. But really, when you look at it, the last 3 episodes were decent. Alan Tudyk, K2SO was in it quite a bit, but not as good as he could have been. Okay. And that's a hard part. As you can see, there's Kay's stall. It's the first one that you see right there. She's being an asshole. She came flying out of the paddock, and I'm like going, I'm going to leave you. I put her in. We did this thing. We walked all the way like this to the barn. Of course, I'm like, I'm going to go get a chain for you if I have to. Put it over her nose, and suddenly she's a cow because she doesn't like the pressure. And that's fine by me. It's not cruel. It's not safe when they're acting like that, and she's huge. She ain't little. But I'm watching this back to Andor, the last 3 episodes. There were characters we knew, General Draven, K2SO, etc. And it was better to see them, I think. It made it better. It's still, look, I would have said, make it about Luthen Raw. Don't make it about Andor, about the lesbians, about, and give Mothma more gravitas. All right? Don't do the parties. Don't do the fucking wedding. It was so disjointed with all that going on. And of course, at the end, you've got her husband with some woman he's having an affair with. And it's like, just fucking, And Bix, in the last scene, has a baby. Andor's baby, I assume. And he's on his way to getting himself killed with Jyn Erso. Okay. And really, when you think about it, did he give anything up? His sister's, Clea's still alive. And yes, she is his sister. Okay. It's obvious, right? He could have gone to see Bix and just been with her. All right. So really, and his mother died, but everybody's mom dies. All right. And when, Fiona Shaw in a hologram says, fuck the Empire, I'm like, this first is Disney Plus. There are kids watching this. Second of all, in what fucking universe does a phrase like that from our world show up in Star Wars, and why do people need to see it? No, we don't. Thirdly, did we need that fat cow making a fucking speech anyway? Okay. Then, we're going back to season 1. Everybody in that town are dressed like they're members of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. So you're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I just, and that was, I had a lot of problems with the show, and a lot of people liked it. The French Resistance, the 1942, 1940s, late 1930s costumes, the fact they spent way too much on the wedding. You could see that the sets were too expensive. The side chats that you couldn't hear unless you put the TV on loud. It should have been about Luthen Rawl, and it should have been called Birth of the Rebellion. And they could have done a better job. Instead, we got something about a character that some people might care about him, but when you're looking at Cassian Andor from a bird's eye point of view, everybody was involved with Scarif. Okay, everybody. So, I just look at it and go, whatever. So that's my opinion. But the last three were good. Am I going to watch them again? Probably not. If this thing shows up on Nielsen, I'll be surprised. And there you go. But I've got about 20 minutes or so before the vet shows up. She better be calmed down because I'm going to kill her. I'm going to have him tranquilize her if she's not going to behave because she's being an asshole. I haven't seen Kay like this since I first got her. I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you? Now, she's a thoroughbred, so they run hot. But this was like, did I just go and get my rope around the neck of a Mustang? Who the hell died and infested your soul with Satan, horse? But if there's a stallion on the property, and Kay's, I'm going to tell you right now, she's one of the biggest whores I've ever known. I'll tell you a story about her. So, was it 2016? I get out to the barn at like 8 in the morning. Because I was stopped and got like a breakfast sandwich, cup of coffee at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, whatever. Go out to the barn, walk out with her halter and lead rope, and she's not in the mare's field. Then I notice across from me, there's a fence down. So I'm like, you've got to be kidding. And that place was low, was very low land, a lot of water in a lot of mud. So there I am tramping across in my boots, my good riding boots, by the way, getting them filthy. I get over there, and then I see her. She's standing under the hay shed with two geldings sniffing her butt with this look on her face of, like, you fucking whore. She was in heat, and she wanted a man. So I have to go through, I have to leave the field. I have to go down a long, dirty chute, go across to the hay thing, grab her, and walk her ass out. And, I'm like, you've got a boyfriend. It's Cowboy. He's in the thing with you. And Flame doesn't care if to share. All the mares are his. But she just, she jumped over the fence when John, the owner of the barn, put her out after he gave him breakfast and turned him out. And there she was, getting, in a threesome, I guess you'd call it. I was horrified. Everyone's laughing at me, and I'm like going, I'm looking at her and go, Kay, you're the village pump. You're the town bicycle. But this is the reason why I will never own another mare. I don't like that. Geldings, if they act like that, it's because they're that. They don't have this, this thing that comes over them because they get their balls cut off. They're, whatever. And so I'm looking at her going, I'm going to kill you. And, she can't be normal. I mean, I today, and she better be good for the vet. She's staying in the barn tonight, too. I'm not taking her back out. Not after the way she was acting. And I got to go and I got to put the fence back together, too. So, I got to go. And sorry to talk about horses, but yeah, it was like having a fucking rodeo. Normally, she's 25 years old. She's old. She's even looking old. you know? Anyway, I gotta go, and y'all have a good time, good day. And I give Andor, the last 3 episodes, 10, 11, and 12, 7 out of 10. Everything else got a 5 out of 10. 7 out of 10 is good for something like this. It's still not The Mandalorian, and it's definitely not as good as Skeleton Crew, but Skeleton Crew has the Star Wars magic in it. There you go. Anyway, see you guys around the galaxy. Wish me luck. The horse is being nuts.